Hello everybody. A little bit of a budget knife review, being that it's a Rough Rider box on YouTube. This is a Kneck Knife made by Rough Rider. Now, Rough Rider, they definitely are a budget line. But a neat thing about budget knives is before you spend a whole lot of money on one type of knife or a style of knife, you can pick up something like a Rough Rider or maybe an M-Tech and give the design a try. Now I realize materials might not be the same as a higher end knife, but anyway, just a thought. And I've started wearing neck knives over the last couple of years. They really are quite handy in that you can access a knife from either your right hand or left hand. If you're holding something that you need to cut and you got a pocket knife in your right pocket and you're holding it with your right hand, a little tough to get to. Same thing with a belt knife, and sometimes I wear a belt knife on my off side. My right side is my strong side, so sometimes I wear it on my left side. But once again, a neck knife, just having it in front of you, you can access it with your right hand or left hand, no matter what you might be doing. So this little knife, they're about $9 or so. Some quick specs on it. The overall length is 4 1/4 inches. The clip point blade length is 1 1/2 inches, and the blade thickness is about 0.188 inches. So pretty thick piece of steel. And speaking of steel, it's made out of 440A according to the literature I read and looked up. Really think because this is made in China, it's probably 7CR17, the Chinese version of 440A. This particular knife has a little bit of a camo design. I guess it might be perhaps more urban camo than like woodland camo or anything like that. Out of the box, I don't think it's too sharp. It is sharp, which there's been some budget knives out there that don't even really have a blade or a edge on the blade. It's not going to be very impressive, but out of the box, it does cut. And part of the problem with trying to cut through paper like this is not only is it dull, and I'm going to work on that off camera here for a second. Not only is it dull, but it's also a short blade with a pretty thick piece of steel, so the cutting angle is real steep. Let's see if that helped it out. A little bit better, just a moment or two on a stone. And I could probably, not a great cut. A few more minutes working on it with a stone will help that out. We can try and cut something a little stiffer. A little bit of a cardboard test. And like I said, part of the problem with the cut is short blade and a thick blade, so it's having to push a lot of material out of the way. But gets the job done. The sheath on this It's simple. It's I think it's glass filled reinforced nylon FRN type sheath. Um, it holds it pretty solid. A little bit of a rattle and a shake. Once again, $9. Not paracord. It's more of a shoelace. Doesn't come with anything. When you're wearing a neck knife, I'm not too keen on having a knot like this, just in case somehow you get tangled up. You can pick up 550 cord, safety breakaway clips. I can get them out of my bag here. You can pick up safety clips real cheap. I put it on the right way here. There we go. That's one. See if this will slide down in there. And then we'll try another one. Half the battle's getting it through, threaded in there. Now this end's a little bit thinner, so I have to possibly come up with plan B. There we go. Pop that in there. Here we go. Now we have a breakaway attachment, so that if you did by chance get tangled up into something, the knife would come away. The other way to attach it would be to not use a knot and just use a lighter and melt this nylon shoelace and create an attachment. But that's going to be solid enough to hold this little knife. Not sure if I mentioned the weight on it. It's just a couple ounces, 2.5 maybe, I think. As I said, I've been wearing neck knives for a couple of years now, and one thing I didn't like is if you have I wore a Mora knife for a while as a neck knife, a Mora military, and neat, much better knife for some tasks, but you know, a few ounces of weight, a few more, it's around 5 ounces, I think, 5-6 ounces, that kind of weight hanging around your neck, and then also it was somewhat long, got in your way a lot, and you really, I did at least, felt that weight after a while. So something like this has a little sharp blade. Just if you need to cut something, it's handy. There is a trick to putting neck knives back in a sheath. and it's usually better to do it one-handed rather than holding like I'm doing. But when the knife is around your neck, you can just when it's dangling around your neck, which I'll simulate with my hand, you can hold the sheath with your thumb, and then I'll use my thumb as my chest. You can just insert the knife against your chest one-handed. That's really a good way to insert the knife. You'll know immediately if you're in the sheath or not, so it's not like you're going to stab yourself. But sometimes if you're trying to use two hands to put a neck knife back on you, you could easily get your thumb or a finger in the way, and as you slide it in, could cause yourself a problem. So just a quick review of an inexpensive neck knife if you want to start wearing a neck knife. This is the Rough Rider model 1477. Like I said, they're around $9 or so on the internet. So if you haven't been wearing a neck knife and it's something you want to try, risking a $10 bill on a proof of concept, if you will, might be something you want to try. Thanks for watching, and always watch your six.